Hi, I'm Milton Rendell and welcome to Real News Friday. Been an interesting week or so, obviously with the election now done and dusted. The Liberals have got in, and like everyone else, I'm trying to work out what benefits there are for me and for my business and for my family. Obviously we've had 6 to 8 weeks of bombardment of policies from both parties, but now that we have a clear direction on which party is in control, we can start analysing. Now, I'm not an economist, and all I've done is started to look at what I think is going to unfold in the next month or so. First thing is the change to the tax. Now, they'll probably get that through in the next month. That'll represent a $10 saving per week per person in Australia. Now, you've got to remember there's 13.5 million taxpayers in Australia. We have a population of 2.46 million people. Now, what does that all mean? Well, I started to calculate a few things. Like I say, I'm not an economist, but I do know my maths, so what I've done is play around with a few of the figures, rounded them up, and looked at them carefully. Now, there is talk of interest rates coming down. Now, there's talk of them coming down probably 25 basis points. What's that mean? It means 0.25% for the average mortgage. What that means in Australia, and what I did is I went through some statistics around the Australian housing sector, and I've sort of rounded it around, so this sort of gives you an idea or a snapshot of our marketplace. 1/3 of our population rents. 1/3 of our population actually owns their home, doesn't have a mortgage. 1/3 does have a mortgage, and the average mortgage in Australia is around $400,000. That sounds lower than probably what you would expect, but in fact it's actually $384,600. But we'll just take it to $400,000 for the simplicity of the exercise of which I've done. What I've done now is had a look and see how that affects our economy, what it really means in terms of what the flow-on effects will be. And I found it really, really, really interesting, and hopefully you find the same. In terms of our weekly cash flow through Australia, the savings that all these will generate is about $192,750,000 per week through our economy. In other words, $835,250,000 into our economy every month. Or, if you start to spread it right out, it's $10,023 million flowing back in our economy. Those two very fine-tuning bits of fine-tuning, you wouldn't imagine that it would make such a big difference. Now, if the interest rates are adjusted by 50 points, it then goes up to about a $13 billion flow through our economy. And I wouldn't have thought that was possible, and I've never really thought about it, but doing the mathematics of it I thought was incredible. Thing that someone explained to me about economics. If someone's got an extra $10 in their hand per week, that helps flow through their local community. So in other words, if I get an extra $10 a week, I may buy my lunch one more time a week, which helps the local lunch bar. The guy in the lunch bar, he may have 20 extra customers per week because of that. It gives him an extra $200 a week. So therefore, he might start fixing his car, having a haircut, or paying for his kids' education, whatever that means. Then it keeps continuing to flow. So if he gets his car fixed, that means the mechanic now's got some money. He may then do something, and the money continues to flow. I don't think many of us understand that part of economics, but this is a very, very positive thing for our economy. And whether it's Liberal or Labor, I really don't care. It's just the fact that we're going to have some form of stimuli coming through our economy, which overall should hopefully help every one of us. But I also think it will attract people back into considering real estate, and hopefully increases wages and a number of other things. Anyway, hopefully this information is of use to you. All the best. And just on what I thought was an interesting note, the average mortgage is above what a house in Midland's worth. So you can buy a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in Midland for under $400,000. So give us a call. Check out realestateplus.com.au.